Hello and welcome to another episode of the Family Gamers Podcast. This is episode 427.
Hey, hello everybody. We are super excited to be here and to record another show for all of you. We are the Family Gamers. As always, I am your host, Andrew, and I'm joined by my lovely and wonderful wife, Anitra.
That's me.
And it's like the middle of the day, so we're like awake.
Woo,
and we're
it's
excited
lovely.
to do this. It's a wonderful thing. It's truly a wonderful thing. What are we going to talk about this week, Anitra?
We are going to talk room to grow trick-taking games.
Yes.
Trick-taking games are a genre of game that a lot of people learn early on, and if you didn't, you can feel very lost very quickly.
I mean, I think trick takers are like having a moment right now.
I think they are, yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of really good trick takers. We've talked about a couple of them on the show fairly recently as well. So really looking forward to having a little chat about some trick-taking games.
But what should we do before that?
Well, there's lots of things we do before that. We have a fact, we have a sponsor message, we welcome our new community members, we usually talk about the games we've been playing, all sorts of stuff.
So why don't we start with a fact?
Okay, so this is fun. Question, Anitra. How do you feel about Wallace and Gromit?
I love Wallace and Gromit.
Okay.
Cheese!
It's cheese, Gromit! Anyway. Wallace and Gromit is this, like, British claymation, I guess?
Yes.
Yeah. If you've seen, like, Chicken Run or any of those kind of style of
Shaun the Sheep
movies,
was also done by the same people.
Yep,
Yeah.
same people. So that's the style that we're talking about here. Great show, movie thing. I feel like it was a show, but I guess I've only seen movies. I don't even know. Anyway, look it up, watch it. It's
short
amazing.
films. It is a series of short films.
Sure. One of the fun things about Wallace and Gromit is that Wallace likes to build Rube Goldberg machines.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
Wants to like make his toast and slide him out of bed in the morning. And
so what is a Rube Goldberg machine, Anitra?
A Rube Goldberg machine is one in which you try to do something usually fairly simple in the most complicated way possible and adding way too many steps.
So, I mean, people have seen rudimentary versions of this all over the place with like something knocks over a ball, which rolls down a rack, which hits a switch, which does a thing, that kind of stuff. So I worked my way backwards on this one. I found out a fact that was related to Rube Goldberg stuff, and then I was like, well, you know what? Maybe I should talk about like where this name came from. Like, What is this? So Rube Goldberg was this guy who was born in the late 19th century.
Okay.
And he died in like the 1970s.
He was like a cartoonist, right?
Yes, he was a cartoonist. He would draw these things. He would draw cartoons using complicated machines to accomplish simple tasks. I bet he never really expected that like his name would become the representative thing for this, but I guess it means he'll live, forever.
Or that people would build real machines to try to copy what he just drew.
Guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, born in 1883, 138 years later in 2021, 3 people in China set the current standing record for the Rube Goldberg machine with the most steps in it.
Okay.
You want to guess how many steps it has in it?
I'm going to guess it's 427 steps.
Nailed it. So the machine has 427 steps, and they used it to turn on a neon light.
Perfect.
That's what it was, right?
Perfect.
I mean, it's like a classic kind of use for this thing.
Yep.
Anyway, the whole point at this point of Rube Goldberg machines is the fun of watching it. So I hunted down the video of this machine getting certified by the Guinness Book of World Records.
Okay.
It is on YouTube. I have the link. We will put it in the show notes.
All right. Very cool.
Yep. And you can watch a 427-step Rube Goldberg machine turning on a neon light.
Somewhere in China.
Yep. That's my fact.
I have a message from our sponsor, First Move Financial. As a reminder, First Move is walking through how they would work with a young couple earning a hypothetical $100,000 with a net worth of about $25,000 and the goals of buying a home and starting a family in the next few years. With this pretend client wanting to prepare for having children, they would want to explore what this means to them. Some families want a spouse to be able to stay home. Others intend to have both spouses keep working and will have to think through childcare from both a cost standpoint and a logistical care standpoint. As we get more of a clear view of what they want their family to look like when a child has been added, we can start making changes to their current situation to better reflect what it will look like later. If they want to be a one-income family, then they want to work toward being only reliant on that one income prior to adding a child to the mix, keeping in mind that children are expensive, and the current spending will probably need to adjust further as they go. If you're interested in getting help planning through the financial ramifications of a change in your life, head over to firstmovefinancial.com/familygamers to schedule a free 15-minute call and see how First Move can help you.
Thanks so much to First Move for sponsoring another episode of the Family Gamers podcast. We have new audio equipment this week, only made possible through the sponsorship of First Move Financial. Hopefully it sounds better. I don't know yet. I'll find out later.
Hopefully at least makes less work for Andrew.
Yeah.
Yay,
well,
less work for Andrew.
All right. So, Nature, let's talk about some games that we've been playing. First one on this list is a game that you played.
Yes. We have finally hit the point of summer vacation where all of our children are home in like decently overlapping amounts of the day. I think we've got 2 or 3 more weeks of that before it probably never happens again.
Like literally ever.
Possibly
like
ever.
Maybe Christmas vacation.
Yeah. So our oldest in particular has been pulling out some of the games that she wants to revisit that she really enjoys, but you know, you need more than one person to play games with.
Is she like evaluating bringing these to college?
In part, yeah.
Okay, sure. Whatever.
So one that she has really enjoyed ever since we reviewed it in early 2021 is a game called Dream Runners. This is a kind of timed tile placement puzzle game in which you are trying to take the tiles that you have available to you and lay them out so that you would cover a 3x3 grid. The 3x3 grid of stuff changes every round, and everyone is trying to cover that grid in the way that will help them the best. So you're trying to banish monsters, you're trying to collect good stuff that will help you, etc. As soon as someone has finished their 3x3 grid, they flip over a timer, which gives them a bonus point of sorts, and then everyone else has about a minute to finish theirs. And then there's all this, you know, logistical work of working out who gets what and how because of the way the grid works after the timed portion is over. It's kind of complicated for what it is. I'm still very much in this game is fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's not bad, not my favorite. I don't mind playing it. I'm happy to play it when she asks. But this is becoming, for Claire, kind of like Fire Tower is for Asher, the game that they try to rope other people into as much as possible, regardless of how the other people feel about it.
Uh-huh.
So this was a big push from her. And once again, she really enjoyed it. I thought it was fine. The other 2 people who played were not big fans.
Uh-oh, that includes the boyfriend.
Yeah.
Wah-wah.
It is what it is.
Oh, well. Next on the list is Enthrone. So this is a 2-player game. We finished up the review for this. I think the review for this is going up next week.
I think probably next week.
Probably, maybe. Who knows? So again, this is a 2-player game from Smirk and Dagger Games. It is a kind of deduction duel game where you are trying to, well, you want to win, and the way that you win is either by moving your identity statue into the middle, or by eliminating your identity statue's targets, or by eliminating your opponent's identity statue. So, a couple options here. The thing about this game that's really interesting is there's 8 of these statues around the board. Only 4 of them can be eliminated before the game immediately ends. So it's not like you can go around and just eliminate things left and right, because there's
you have to be really careful about it. Yeah.
But at the same time, you're trying to watch what your opponent is doing to figure out who they might be. And also, you're trying to move your statue into the middle because that's another way that you could win.
Yeah.
The tricky part about this is there's this kind of action board with tiles that represent each of the statues. And when you use one of your when you move a statue, it's not one of your statues, they're all any statue, you move that statue's tile to the bottom of this like stack, and the bottom 3 or 4 aren't allowed to take any actions.
Correct.
And so it's constantly cycling, right? So it's not like you can just move your guy up into the middle and it's a race. You can't do that, because as soon as you move, air quote, your guy, that token's going to go to the bottom, and it's going to take 4 or 5 moves of other things before you can move, air quote, your guy again.
It is part of what makes this really interesting as a deduction game, because not only are you trying to hide a little bit of your goal from your opponent, but also you're limited on any given turn what you can actually move.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we talk about this a lot in the review, but the interesting thing about this game to me is that in the beginning of the game, there's a little bit of this like breathless anticipation thing going on, because you really don't know anything about your opponent. All you know is 3 of the identities that your opponent isn't, because at the beginning of the game, you're dealt 3 cards.
Right.
And you can look at those, and you keep one, and you discard the other 2. So you know that your opponent is not one of those two.
Yeah.
Right. And obviously your opponent is not yourself. So
Right.
So those are the three. So for me, I mean, I don't know how many more times we're going to play this game, so I'll just tell you my strategy. One of my strategies is to put potentially my targets in positions where they could be taken. And if my opponent takes the bait and takes one of those, then I have a pretty good sense of one of two characters that my opponent might be, because every identity is targeted by three others,
Yes.
right? And if one of them is me, there's only two others that target it.
Sure.
And if I'm really lucky, then the identities that were dealt to me at the beginning have some matching ones. So like, let's say there's three people who want the archer dead, one of which is me and one of which is an identity that I discarded. So if I put the archer somewhere where it could be taken and my opponent takes it, there's only one other identity that wants to kill the archer. So now I've got it in the back of my mind, okay, there's a reasonable possibility that that particular identity is who my opponent is.
Sure.
It's stuff like that. That's how you have to play this game, is you have to make a couple, like you have to take a couple chances at the beginning and then make some mildly educated guesses.
Yeah.
And then you can firm them up a little bit later.
Yeah. For me, I like the idea of this game, and it does play incredibly quickly. Like, I don't think we've ever had a game that went more than about 10 minutes, and it is beautiful.
Yeah.
But the struggle for me is that it is just too much to try to keep all in my head at once. I think I've said this before, but because there are 8 statues out there, and I know who my secret identity is, I can remember who the 2 identities are that are out of the running. And at that point, I'm already starting to lose brain space for what else could be involved. I wonder if I would like this game better if I took like the little cheat sheet reference card and made a copy of it that I could then keep secretly and cross things off.
Sure.
Because I just find myself every turn being like having to work the entire thing out from first principles again because I can't hold all the information.
Well, I mean,
in my
that's
brain.
the upshot, is that it's pretty close to a perfect information game once the game starts. Like, those hidden identities at the beginning are not, but everything else, I mean, there's nothing hidden.
I wouldn't call it a perfect information game, but...
Well, I said it was close, right? Like, everything that plays out during the game, there's no cards you draw, there's no extra additional hidden stuff. Like, everything that happens is just what happens.
There's no extra luck or things like that.
Sure.
Yeah. But
I'm with
there's
you. Like,
a bunch of hidden information.
If there were 2 player aids that, like, that you could write on with a white dry erase marker or something like that, like, that would be helpful to you. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, that's something that anybody could do.
Yeah. And so my other complaint, which I've said in the past, is about the symbology, which should be really, really good, except I always struggle to match up some of the symbols with the little statues.
Yeah.
And that is part of what kicks me out of being able to keep enough of this information in my head. Because if it was just symbols, I could probably manage it. But it's that one extra layer where I'm like, wait, who's that guy again? And the whole castle comes crashing down in my head. I'm like, oh, wait, I forgot who's supposed to be going after who and what we've already done. And it just... Like I said, I end up every single turn I'm trying to work it out from first principles again, and...
Just too much mental work for you.
It's too much.
Yeah, I mean, look, the irony is, first of all, the statues are gorgeous. Like, they're fantastic.
They're beautiful.
They look great. They stand, like, 4 inches tall. Like, they're not small.
Yeah.
They got a really cool, like, tarnished marble look to them. They just look fantastic. Like, the board looks like stained glass. It's beautiful. The game's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
But, essentially what you're saying is, if you replaced all the gorgeous statues with cardboard standees with the matching icons, this game would actually work better in your head.
Yes, it would.
Yeah, I get it. I understand. The icon is on the pedestal base. It's just very small.
Well, and even, like, the icon does make sense with the character, but it's just...
But it's not like, that's that.
Right. It's not an immediate one-to-one.
Yeah. No, I totally get it.
So, that's Enthrone. I can see you and our son Asher playing this a bunch more. You both really like it. And because it plays so quickly, it's an easy lift to say, hey, you want to play a quick game?
Yeah, you want to throw down? Yeah.
Something that's less of a quick game
it's not bad.
Is Little Alchemists. So you might recall us reviewing this about 4 or 5 months ago now. When we wrote the review, we had gotten through most of the levels of the game, but not all. We figured we probably had enough to talk about it reasonably. Well, Andrew over here decided we really should go through all the levels before we made a decision of whether we wanted to keep it for our family.
I feel like you're turning me into a villain right now.
Not a villain, just...
Maybe. She's thinking about it. She's like, maybe.
based on how our kids reacted to it, I was like, I think we're good. I think we could just move on. And I think you felt more of the push of like, come on, what else is in these boxes? I just want to know.
That's because we're in level 6 of 7.
Right?
I mean, come on. It's not like, oh yeah, everybody.
I think we're at level 5 or whatever. But
anyway,
yeah.
but like, it's not like there was a lot to go.
Right. There
That's
was
my
not
point.
a whole
That's my
lot
point.
left to go.
Yeah.
So I think it was entirely reasonable to say, I want to play this a couple more times.
Thanks.
So we did. Overall, we had a good time. One of our sons, who we had been playing through the campaign with, was really just done. It was
but that wasn't a reflection on the game itself.
Right.
Honestly, like, he didn't not enjoy it. He's not a board gamer. He doesn't really like board games.
I wouldn't even say he's not a board gamer, but this is not the style of game he really enjoys. It's not something that really pulls him in. And the idea of playing it back to back to get through the hidden boxes did not appeal to him at all. So we did it. We played through it. We took him out for a couple of games. So we took the tiles out, whatever made it be for a 3-player game.
It flexed fine.
It flexed perfectly fine, which is good news. If you are considering this, but you're not sure about having the same group all the way through, completely playable, bringing somebody new in, or changing out the number of players partway through.
Yep.
And I do think it's a very good learn to grow game in and of itself if you want to bring kids into this idea of a more complicated deduction game. And we were explaining to our other son, Asher, that the quote-unquote real big kid Alchemist game is a couple of steps above this.
Yep.
Like, in Alchemists, in addition to the deduction, there's like a whole worker placement thing that is not represented in Little Alchemist, and that's fine. As deduction games go, it's fine. Like, it's got a cute theme. It gets pretty complicated by the 7th level, but there's really good scaffolding to make it work. And I will say, by the time we were playing at the top level, the games actually went faster than they had before.
Yeah, I think that we got to the point with the game where so much would happen in one turn, especially with the way the player count worked out, that because there's so many, because you add different ingredients the whole way, right?
Yeah.
And so I think I ended up like guessing the mix like 3 turns in a row. Like, I didn't have to make a potion to get any more information.
Yeah.
Once the first shoe dropped, it was like, oh, I can deduce the next one and the next one and the next one. I didn't have to do any of the work anymore.
And some of that is unfortunately still the luck of the draw at the very beginning of the game. Like, not the first turn, but like your second or third turn, if you end up with a bunch of disconnected potions, okay, maybe that'll give you all of the information you need to start making guesses as the dominoes fall. Or maybe other people will get to the ones that you have information for first, and then you're sitting there and be like,
yeah, maybe.
I got nothing.
Maybe, but I certainly
literally
didn't
nothing.
have connected potions.
Right.
When I just had a smattering of potions, and I was like, okay, well, these 2 ingredients make this green thing. So if this ingredient is for that, then I know. It was all deduction. Like, I don't think I got there wasn't a special amount of information on my deduction board, is what I'm saying.
I will say I had a game where I got particularly lucky, and I was able to similarly do the I'm guessing multiple turns in a row because I had the information that showed up. And I also had a game where it was just like, hey, I was going to guess that, and somebody else got it. And hey, I figured this out, but so did somebody else. And then we got to my turn, and I was like, I have no information for what's left. I literally can't figure it out. So I guess I might as well make a potion and see what happens.
Right.
So there is a lot of luck to it, even then. And
I don't know if it's a lot.
There's a significant amount, I would say, still. But I think that's appropriate for a game that's scaffolded in this way and is intended for bringing kids along into it.
Sure.
You definitely can mitigate that luck with what you choose to put together, right? But it's fine. I think it's very good at what it's intending to do, which is bring younger players into a much more complex deduction game by building it up from a much simpler deduction game. I've never seen anything else that works like that, and I think that's really awesome.
Yeah, I enjoyed it the whole time. Next on the list is Lord of the Rings Fellowship of the Ring trick-taking game. We have played more of this, and we finally beat the stupid 4th scenario.
Chapter 4, yeah. Chapter 4 was particularly hard at 3 players. I'm really enjoying this. We will probably mention it again later, but I like that it's just got a couple of nods to the plot of Fellowship of the Ring and really clear goals for everyone playing on every game.
Well, we'll keep playing it and playing more chapters. And I mean, again, we're talking about trick-taking games on this episode. This is a trick-taking game. It's fine mechanically. I don't feel like it's, blowing my mind or anything like that. But I know there is a deep, deep love of Lord of the Rings.
For a lot of people.
For a lot of people. I like Lord of the Rings. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't you talk about the next one we played,
Sure.
which was just you and me?
It was just you and me. So we have a small collection of escape room games that I have bought for you or we have acquired or whatever. And this is one that we picked up as an add-on to a Kickstarter that we funded for Grand Gamers Guild. I don't even remember which one it was at this point.
Yeah.
I have no idea. But this was Endangered Rescue Galapagos Penguins. So this is an 18-card, not even an escape room. It's just like a challenge, I guess.
I mean, it's an escape room style challenge, yeah.
Yeah, well, they call it 18 Escape. That's the new
branding across all
for
of them.
all of
Yeah.
it, because the Holiday Hijinks is just holiday related, and this is not holiday related. So this is in the Endangered universe. Endangered, of course, the well-known game series from Grand Gamers Guild, and this is one that is all kind of centered around the Galapagos penguins. Interesting game in the sense that there's a lot of fact-finding about the Galapagos penguins, and you learn a bit about how they're different from other penguins and how they're similar to other penguins and things like that. Unfortunately, we don't have any recordings of Benedict Cumberbatch saying penguin or whatever it is. I don't even know. Google it. But, I mean, it was good. I was glad to play it. I was glad to play it with you. I don't feel like it was as strong as a lot of the Holiday Hijinks stuff.
Oh, I felt like it had a lot of the same DNA as the Holiday Hijinks type.
Okay, when we finished, I was like, okay, this is fine. I didn't feel the same level of satisfaction with it, which doesn't mean it wasn't bad. Maybe I just didn't connect with it, or
yeah, I'm gonna guess it was more that you didn't connect with it as much, and part of that may be because this is literally an educational game escape room.
I mean, essentially, yes. That's exactly.
Which is a really interesting way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It also did pull in a couple of the mechanics from the bigger Endangered game into some little mini puzzles within it.
I think that's a strong way to say it. I would say if you played Endangered, you would recognize some things.
That's a better way to put it.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
You don't need to know anything about the Endangered game to play this.
Right. So there's one puzzle. I mean, I don't think I'm spoiling anything. There's one puzzle where you have penguins, and if there are two penguins, they will breed into and have another penguin, which appears in an orthogonally adjacent space, just like in Endangered. You know what I mean? So it's stuff like that. But that's the only way, right? You would have to know both games to recognize that.
Yeah. But I thought it was really interesting that unlike the Holiday Hijinks games, which are really built on the idea of you already probably know everything that you need to know about this holiday so that you can answer these questions. And if you don't, there are some resources and whatnot on the website. But the Endangered Rescue game is the opposite. They're assuming you don't know anything about these penguins, and we're going to teach you sometimes as a part of solving the puzzle, but sometimes as the solution to the puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to learn a new thing. So I actually really liked that aspect of it. And I feel like it tied in the educational stuff really well.
Mm-hmm. I mean, okay, sure. Yeah. Speaking of things that you really like that tied things in really well, do you want to talk about the next game on this list?
Sure. Last week, my review went up for A Place for All My Books. And if you've been listening to the podcast much, you will already know that I said one of my favorite things about this game is also what makes me really uncomfortable about this game, which is the stacks of books everywhere.
Yeah.
It reminds me that I'm not actually that bad as book hoarders go, because I try very hard not to have stacks of books everywhere, and they must all fit on the shelf.
I am actively staring at Anitra.
Sometimes it means we need to buy more shelves.
I am actively staring at Anitra.
But in all seriousness, I really enjoy this game, and not just because of the theme. The theme helps, but the way it all is put together feels really unusual, with this whole idea of you're an introvert and you need to build up your social battery so you can go to town and do stuff that'll help you get more points in the end game, and you really want to go to town, and you probably want to stay in town as long as possible because it takes more energy just to get out there than to stay out there.
Right.
So all of that is really cool and really unusual, especially when combined with the rest of this is sort of a tile laying rearrangement puzzle with restrictions on how you can move stuff around. It's got a little bit of a point salad-y vibe. There are 5 different ways you can earn points, I think. But honestly, the biggest way you're going to earn points is literally just amassing books. because every book you have at the end of the game is worth a point.
I've enjoyed this game when I've played it. You played it a lot more than I have.
Yeah.
Obviously, it is more your game than mine,
Sure.
but I think it's a very solid implementation.
Yeah. I think it's going to end up in our Hall of Fame reviews for the year. It's just really, really good at everything it does, including having a solo mode, because it's a game for introverts. So
I mean, it kind of has to.
It kind of has to, right? But the solo mode works really, really well.
Great. Next on the list is a new one for the podcast. And this is a game from Cosmos. We saw this at PAX Unplugged last year, and this is a game Dice Words. So Dice Words is interesting. It's got some Scrabbly parts. It's got some pattern matching.
Yeah.
Maybe? I guess that's the best way to put it. So in Dice Words, everyone has their own set of 7 dice. So up to a 4-player game. There's also 4 central dice, we'll call them, right? For each round, and I think you play 5 rounds. That sounds right.
5 is a short game.
Yeah. You roll the central dice, and whatever those 4 letters are, those are those 4 letters. Everybody rolls their own dice. Their goal is to create a word that is as long as possible. Their secondary goal is also to match the letters that are in the center thing.
Yeah. But it's more complicated than just making a word that's as long as possible, because like Scrabble, different letters have different values. That's printed right on the dice. It's going to look familiar to you if you've played Scrabble.
I mean, they're pretty much Scrabble values.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So what you want to do is make the highest value word you can, which is usually going to be longer. You get bonus points for it being longer. But then you multiply the score you get by how many letters you match from the center. So if you made a really nice 7-letter word, but none of them match the 4 in the center, you will get 0 points.
Which is like super frustrating, because sometimes that's just how it works, is like you're just not getting the letters and there's really nothing you can do about it. So you have the initial roll, and then you have up to 2 re-rolls of however many dice you want to re-roll. So sometimes it's worth it to have a 3-letter word with a letter or 2 that match the middle, because that's literally the only way that you're going to get those letters out there. So this is a game that definitely has some luck involved.
Yeah. Something I appreciated in looking through the rules before the first time we sat down to play is there are built-in modifiers right in the rules for if you are playing with younger players or people who struggle with word games. Here are additional things you can do, including flipping over your little board that you create your word on so that the bonus scoring for a longer word starts a lot earlier. And that's really nice that it's so easy to change that and bring in a younger player without changing the rules for everyone else, and level the playing field a little bit.
Yeah, I really like the fact that you can do that. I mean, that's kind of what the B mods do that we've talked about in the past, right? Is we have these changes that don't affect everybody, just to kind of maybe raise the level or reduce the difficulty, or however you want to define it, right? It's just, it's helpful. Asymmetric. That's the word I was looking for that I couldn't come up with. Yeah. So it's asymmetric rules to try to balance things out.
I grew up playing a lot of word games with my parents, and there was very little that they would do to assist me. And so I always knew going in that, like, I had no chance of winning. And for a game that's really just all about points in the end, making words is kind of cool, but if that's all you're doing,
that can be frustrating.
It can be really frustrating.
Yeah,
so I really, really liked that, and I'm looking forward to testing that out, hopefully with a younger player.
Absolutely. No, I love that a lot. Speaking of games for younger players.
Our son Elliot asked me if I would play Suspend with him. And no one else wanted to play, so we played with 2 players. Since Elliot is still some kind of a savant at this game, although Suspend is harder than Suspend Junior because the pieces are metal, not plastic, so they slide on each other more. But since he's some kind of a savant at this game, he makes the weirdest, most unstable plays, and at 2 players, that meant our game lasted so long. It is the longest game I've ever played as Suspend. We played more than an hour. I knocked down the entire structure at least twice. It might have been 3 times, where just one thing was slightly off and then the whole thing collapsed, and so I'd have to take all the pieces. And I thought for sure after the second time that happened that I was just like, all right, I'm done. He's got like 3 pieces left,
and he couldn't seal the deal.
He might have to take some of mine if he rolls the wrong colors.
I see.
And I decided to start playing the way he plays.
Yeah.
My first move were 2. I went for stability, and then after that I was like, no, I'm going to make this as unstable as possible.
Yeah.
and he knocked the entire thing down at least once. It might have been twice. And in the end, I secured the victory.
There you go. Well, once you're down to like 1 or 2 left, then you're like, okay, now it needs to be as stable as possible.
It needs to be really secure.
Doesn't fall over. Yeah. Love it.
So epic game of Suspend. This is a really good game for people who have some desire to play a dexterity game.
Sure. No, I love it.
Yeah. With the boyfriend, we introduced him to Quacks of Quedlinburg. Everybody had a great time. He really enjoyed this one.
Fantastic.
Not only because he won on his very first time.
Yeah.
No, it's such an intuitive game once you get into it, and everybody can make their own strategy of what they want to do with the different kind of chips they can buy.
Yep.
He got very into the strategy of buying the little crow's head scry piece.
Yeah, of course. I mean, because it translates so smoothly into a really just clear way to play the game.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, still a really great game. Still really recommend Quacks of Quedlinburg for family play because it's so much fun.
Really good. It's really good.
It's so much fun.
Yes. Yeah.
The thrill of victory and the agony of defeat.
Oh, the screaming agony of our daughter when she doesn't get what she wants over and over and over again. Is that what you're talking about? Because I noticed that.
Sometimes. And we've only got one more on the list. We are continuing to work on our review for Unmatched Stars and Stripes. And I decided that we would try matching up John Henry, who moves all over the board and just does ridiculous amounts of damage.
I'm laughing because I know what you're going to say.
Against T-Rex.
That's amazing.
Guess what? T-Rex can catch John Henry. T-Rex can hurt John Henry.
Yeah, how'd that go?
We tried it twice on 2 different boards. Both times T-Rex won. I was playing as T-Rex, and I figured out how to pin John Henry down so that he could not effectively get away. And that sealed the deal.
Sure.
I will say in the first of the 2 games, it did get close to T-Rex running out of cards. So if John Henry could have hung on for a couple of more turns, he would have won.
Well, I mean, you don't immediately lose. You take damage.
Yeah. But he did do a really good job, our son, with John Henry bringing down T-Rex. It's just that T-Rex has an enormous, stupid amount of health. It's like 27 or something.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. It's a crazy number.
Yeah.
T-Rex is a big girl.
Yes. Oh, we also found out a clarification that was not written in the rulebook.
Tell me.
Which is T-Rex, as a large character, cannot use secret passages.
Oh, yeah, I did know that. I remember you telling me that, yep. I mean, it makes sense.
It does make sense.
Like, in all fairness,
yes.
Like, it makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
Also, could you just imagine?
T-Rex in the White House were like, I don't think there would be very much house left.
Right. Yeah. Bullet in a China Shop doesn't really capture this one.
Not exactly, no.
Yeah, all right. So that's our games. That's what we've been playing. Lots of games. Next show, we're going to talk about our monthly report for the month of July, which is already almost over. I don't even really know how that happened, but it did.
One day follows another. That's how.
Okay. So, all right. Why don't we welcome our new community members?
All right.
What do you think?
I think that's a great idea.
Okay.
So welcome to Lisa.
Welcome to Danny.
Welcome to Brittany.
Welcome to Sam.
Welcome to Nicole.
Welcome to Kunal.
Welcome to Nathan.
Welcome to Aura.
Welcome to Howard.
And welcome to Ken.
And welcome to Shayna, I think.
Shayna, yeah. So thank you so much for joining the community. Hope you are also listening to the show. If you're not listening to the show, you didn't get to hear your name called out, but eventually you will listen, and then you'll go back, and then you'll hear it, and then you'll be excited. At least that's what I hope. And if you are out there listening to this and you saw the post in the community, make sure to comment and let them know that they can hear themselves called out on the show. Why not? Glad to see you coming, and hope that you're ready to talk all about family games.
If you are part of our community, you can also participate in our back talk.
Well, there's lots of different ways you can do that. You can be in the Facebook community, or you can be on Discord.
Yes.
Yeah.
So 2 weeks ago, I asked about your hidden gem or hidden gems. Lesser known games that you just click with, games that you think should be much better known because they're awesome.
On Facebook, Nathan Jenny commented and said, I have three of these games. He must listen to the Family Gamers podcast if he thinks that kind of thing is acceptable. The first one is Chicken by Keymaster, which a lot of people know and a lot of people like, and I have never played. Shame on me.
It happens.
The second one is Unmatched by Fireside.
That is definitely a hidden gem.
Yeah. It's
more
great,
people should
great
know
game,
that.
rock solid. Just kind of came out and just was out.
Yeah.
And the third one is Crabs in a Bucket by Blue Rondo. So I've seen that game. I've never played that game.
I've heard of it, but I don't know much about it. Yeah.
Nathan says maybe they are more well-known than I think they are. Chicken is probably the best known of these three, I would say. For us, we know Unmatched best, but I think Chicken is the best known.
Probably.
But all are pretty easy and quick to learn and play. I'm curious if others have heard of them. Of course, Anitra, you commented and said I'm a big fan of Unmatched. Jeremy Pike says, chicken is great. I agree. I eat a lot of chicken.
I mean, that kind of chicken is great too.
Yes.
Funny you mentioned that because on Discord, Jeremy Pike was the first person to respond, and he said Valiant Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And also Shards of Infinity.
Yes.
I don't know anything about Shards of Infinity.
Shards of Infinity is I think it's 2-player, but it's one of these like card-based kind of dueler style games.
Sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Valiant Wars is a game that Jeremy reviewed for the Family Gamers, so you go to thefamilygamers.com. You'll see a review for that game.
Yes.
It's like a little bit of a deck builder, if I remember correctly. Mm-hmm. Colleen on Facebook says, Aaron and I both thought of the game Saboteur. I don't know that I would consider Saboteur a hidden gem. It's less popular now than it used to be, and I think that's probably just a function of, I think Amigo had the license in the US, and that kind of explains that. Saboteur, it's an engaging semi-cooperative game with a mystery saboteur player or two, and it is easy to set up and play with friends who aren't gamers. A couple board games that we really love to play with non-gamer friends, which is just, this is a great list of games to always keep in your back pocket, are Survive and Downforce. I know Survive, I don't know it super well. Downforce, I know really well.
We love Downforce.
Downforce is a great game to play with non-gamers because it's so easy to explain. She goes on, these may not be considered lesser-known games in this community, but for our friends, they are hidden gems. Basically, every game is a hidden gem for non-gamers, but I digress.
Sure.
These games are hidden gems that click really well for new players.
On the Discord, Peter Schott says, our family really likes Valeria Card Kingdoms. Don't know if that's a hidden gem, but don't see it as much these days. Then there are 2 or 3 people immediately after that are like, yes!
Yeah.
Love this.
So Valeria Card Kingdoms, interesting game. So it's a tableau builder, right? So after Machikoro kind of established this genre, 2 big branches off of this were Valeria Card Kingdoms and Space Base. Space Base, I think, is the more popular of the 2. Valeria Card Kingdoms is, it's a fantasy theme. It's pretty interesting. I picked up a copy at one point. It was a little hard to get. I picked it up, and I just couldn't get anybody to play with me. And so I knew that it had enough of a cult following that I could offload it fairly easily, so I did.
Yeah.
So we don't have it anymore, but I did enjoy playing it. I liked the fantasy skin over the top of the tableau building that was Machikoro. And Machikoro does get a little bit dry if you play it too much, so all of that was great, but unfortunately it just, I don't know, maybe it's the tableau building mechanic in general that didn't click for our family. I'm not really sure, but I'm certainly not going to complain about that being nominated as a hidden gem.
Ken suggests Hamlet the village building game and Fractured Sky are his hidden gems. Mm-hmm. Jeremy says Cuddle is one that I enjoy, but almost no one knows how to play anymore. All you need is a standard deck of cards.
That's cuddle like cuttlefish?
Like cuddle.
Not cuddle like...
Right, like cuttlefish. Not like snuggling up in bed.
Okay. I'm just checking.
And Firefly Adventures. Only show fans recognize the game sometimes. Yeah, Firefly Adventures I've heard awesome things about, but because it's now been over a decade since the show, and over a decade since the game came out, and it's out of print, yeah, that would qualify as a hidden gem, because just people who are newer to board gaming would have no reason to know this.
Is that the one that's like legendary? Is it that one? I don't remember which one because there's a bunch. There's Firefly the board game, and then there was Firefly Adventures, obviously, and then there was one that was like legendary or like Alien, the Alien game. I just don't remember which one is which. Firefly
Adventures is a miniatures war game.
Okay, so this is a different one. All right. I'm just curious. All right. Yeah, Firefly's great. I love Firefly. Supposedly the team is doing something. They teased a thing like 2 months ago or something.
I don't know, man. I'm not gonna get my hopes
Broncos
up.
forever. Anyway, Nick Martinelli says family-friendly picks. Fistful of Meeples, Mancala style game based in the Old West. He says Armonia. I don't know if he means Anomia.
No, I bet he doesn't.
You bet he means Armonia? I've never heard of Armonia. Buried Treasure. So this is the game from Restoration. Bonanza and Dale of Merchants.
Armonia is a Uwe Rosenberg game.
Okay. I've literally never heard of that game. I know nothing about it. Nick, I'm sure you will send me a message in a couple of weeks when you listen to this and basically yell at me for not knowing about this game.
Very possibly. So, yeah. The Joyful Jedi on Discord says Out of Control. This is a 1992 Parker Brothers game.
Wow.
He says it's a fun party game. It's more old than hidden. You shout answers to a category while following restrictions. Mm-hmm. I can see why that would be a fun game. Just looking it up quickly on Board Game Geek. But it's old enough that people are not going to be talking about it because it's 35 years old. And our last one on the Discord is Peter Schott says, I still remember S-Mess from the 70s. It was like chess, but with Mad Magazine type twists to it. Lots of arrows on the board. Interesting. Not great, but interesting. And very thinky for the time. I mean, that sounds really cool. It makes me want to look it up on Board Game Geek, and it is not on Board Game Geek. So really, really hidden gem there, Peter.
Yeah. I mean, if it's hidden from Board Game Geek, you have gotten a good one.
Right? So, yeah, I think all of these are cool. It's always fun to share with other people and be like, oh my goodness, I have to tell you about this game. It's so awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. Why don't we, we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we are going to talk all about taking games.
Let's do that.
We'll be right back.
And we're back.
All right, so like we said earlier, this show is part of our Room to Grow series, and this time we're going to talk about trick-taking games. So let's talk about what our goal is with Room to Grow, and also, like, what is trick-taking?
Yes.
Might as well define it, and then we can talk about some games that we think fit this series.
So, what is trick-taking? Trick-taking is a game mechanism that's used in a lot of card games, especially card games that use the standard 52-card deck. A trick is formed by every player in turn playing one card from their hand to the center. Once everyone has played a card, that is the trick. The trick is then won by one of the players and taken as a trophy of sorts. Usually tricks are won by playing out the highest card in the suit that was led. That means the first person who played a card and matching their suit. But a lot of trick-taking games also use trump, which is like a better than everything suit. Mm-hmm. That is the most basic overview I can give of trick-taking.
Right. So a traditional trick-taking game, if Anitra led off with a card that was of the suit of clubs, by virtue of leading off with that card, she has established the primary suit for the trick. Everybody typically would be forced to play a clubs card from their hand if they had one. And then whichever one was the highest ranked clubs card, that person would win that trick.
Usually that's how it works.
Right. And then there's all sorts of other things that could impact that or change that, twist that around, things like that.
Yeah. Another term that's used in this is must follow suit. Mm-hmm. A must follow game. Some trick-taking games are not that. Some trick-taking games have other weird things going on where the person who plays the highest card doesn't win the trick, etc. But we're starting from the most basic definition that we can of what is most common.
And why are we doing that? Because this is our Room to Grow series. So our goal with Room to Grow is to help you bring your kids or your family or just people in your lives through a series of games that grow in complexity. Normally, we will take a beginner game, an intermediate game, and an advanced game, and almost always we have more than 3 games in the list. And these offer a plan for growth for players to get comfortable with a mechanic and then get more complex with it. And all of these games are going to be family friendly.
Yes. So, trick-taking has a lot of variations, and they can get very complicated very quickly with all kinds of partnering rules and bidding and all this kind of stuff. So what is the absolute simplest trick-taking game that we could come up with?
So it turns out, actually, before we say what this is, that the simplest we could come up with and the most complicated I could find are both played with traditional playing cards.
I'm not surprised at all.
So the most complicated one I could find is Bridge.
Oh, yeah, man. Whew.
But people have heard of it.
Right.
The simplest one, another game people have heard of, is the game Hearts.
Yeah.
And so Hearts is going to be our beginner game.
Yes. So Hearts uses a standard deck. It is a must-follow game. Mm-hmm. There is no bidding.
What do you mean when you say bidding?
You don't have to guess at the beginning of a round how many tricks you're going to win. Mm-hmm. Your goal in Hearts is to keep the lowest score possible. How do you score points or avoid scoring points? In Hearts, if you win a trick that has heart cards in it, each one of those heart cards is worth a point. And the Queen of Spades is 13 points. I don't know why the Queen of Spades and not the Queen of Hearts, but whatever. The Queen of Hearts is still only worth 1 point. So every time a trick is won, you take those cards and any hearts are negative points, the The Queen of Spades is really negative. It's worth as much as all of the rest of the hearts put together.
So it's actually worth mentioning right now, as we continue to define trick-taking, Heart is a must-follow trick-taking game, which means if someone plays a suit, you have to follow with that suit. If you don't have that suit, you can usually play whatever you want.
Whatever you want.
And unless your whatever you want is a trump suit, you're almost definitely going to lose.
Right.
So that's a good way. If you have hearts in your hand and you're playing hearts and somebody plays a club and you don't have any clubs, get those hearts out.
You get to play a heart and get rid of it because there is no trump suit in hearts.
Mm-hmm. Now, there's an exception.
There is one exception. You can shoot the moon, which is if you manage to win all 13 of the heart cards and you win the Queen of Spades card, instead of taking 26 bad points, you instead score 0 that round and all of your opponents score 26.
Which is unbelievable.
But it's incredibly risky and hard to do,
for
right?
Sure. Oh, yeah. Well, because once somebody notices you're doing it, anybody is like, just take a heart card. Because all they have to do is take one.
All they have to do is take one to prevent you from doing that. So a short game of hearts is usually played to 50. A longer game is played to 100 points. When someone reaches 100 points, whoever has the least points wins.
Mm-hmm. So other than the Queen of Spades being worth 13 points...
Which is weird.
The math in this is extremely easy. You're counting the cards. That's it. There's no face value. There's no nothing. Super easy. This is a game that even younger players can play because if you're only going up to 50, the math on that is pretty okay.
The math on that is only like probably 3 rounds for somebody to reach 50 points. The nice thing about Hearts as a game is, as we said, there's no trump. The point counting is pretty simple, and you're not drawing in any kind of additional special abilities or whatever. It is enough for kids to start seeing that sometimes it is a good idea to lose the trick on purpose. Oh, that trick is full of hearts. Somebody led hearts. I bet if I play a low heart card, I can get rid of my hearts and not win this trick and make sure someone else takes it.
Yep. There's a lot of core trick-taking strategy that you can learn in a game as basic and simple as Hearts, and that's really the goal with the beginner game in the series.
Yes.
Yep.
So, moving on to an intermediate game.
Yes. So, we have branching paths now.
We do.
Yeah, which is not shocking.
Yes. So, on one side, if you want a game that is still very much like Hearts, but just lets you do a little bit more and has a fun theme, the next step up would be Rebel Princess.
Mm-hmm. Rebel Princess is a game that Nick Martinelli reviewed a little bit over a year ago.
Yes.
So you can head over to thefamilygamers.com and see the review for this game. I think we'll link to it in the show notes as well.
Yes. But basically, you are a princess. You are trying to avoid princes and frogs and push those off to other people. So the various princesses do have some special powers, especially with the expansion that Nick recently reviewed called Happily Never After, which adds even more special powers. Mm-hmm. But at its core, it's still basically Hearts plus. If, however, you want to introduce a whole new mechanic tied to trick-taking, we would recommend Wizard.
So I mentioned when you said bidding before, I asked you to define bidding. Wizard is a trick-taking game that includes bidding. And it includes bidding at a very easy to understand and rudimentary level. When you get your cards, you have to wager how many of the tricks you will win based on the cards that you have.
There's no specific cards that give you points in this game. In Wizard, you are dealt some number of cards representing how many tricks are going to be in this round. Mm-hmm. And looking at your hand of cards, you decide how many tricks you think you're going to be able to win. The closer you can get to that number, the better your score will be. So if you're way off, you're
doomed.
You're doomed. If you're right on, you get like a multiplier.
Right. I think you, lose 10 points for every one off that you are or something like that? Yeah.
The other thing about Wizard is that it builds progressively over time. So the very first round of Wizard is one trick. So everybody gets dealt a card. You look at the one card in your hand and you say, do I think I can win with this card? Not knowing what anybody else's cards are.
Or whether their suits match or anything.
Right. Wizard does also have Trump, which is, I believe, randomly determined each round. As Wizard goes along, each round has more and more tricks. You go from one trick to, it could be 10, it could be 13. It depends on...
I actually thought it was 12.
It depends on how many players there are.
Yeah.
The more players you have, the fewer rounds you're going to play.
Yeah. So in the first round, there's 1 trick. In the second round, there's 2 tricks. In the third round, there's 3 tricks, etc.
Etc. And that acts like a multiplier that if, once again, you get your bid right on and win exactly the number of tricks you say you're going to win, the higher that number is, the bigger your point spread is going to be. So Wizard is a great way to start teaching that bidding idea of, oh, I really want to win this. Maybe I don't want to win this other trick quite so much. But it's an additional layer of trying to predict on top of when to win and when to lose.
So in our advanced category, we have 2 games that really are both fundamentally trick takers, but have a completely different twist to them. And they don't actually build on anything that's in our intermediate. They're just a little bit more abstract.
Just more.
Well, I don't know. So the first one is a game that we talk about all the time. This is a competitive game called Jekyll vs. Hyde. This is a 2-player trick-taking game. So if you think about all of the stuff we've talked about with trick-taking games, and then you think, okay, how do you do it with just 2 players and only 2 players ever? It's kind of hard to imagine, right? Because trick-taking is something that really shines at a higher player count.
Most trick-taking games start at 3 players.
Right. So how do you do this with 2 players, Anisha?
I mean, the answer is Jekyll versus Hyde. And part of the way this works is there's a specialized deck. There's actually only 3 suits plus this wild potion suit. The potion suit works in an entirely different way than the other 3. And rather than explicitly having a trump, the 3 suits end up being ranked in strength as you go on through the game. So it is still a must-follow game. You have to follow the lead suit if you can, but the potions work like a sort of uber trump. You can play them at any time, so they don't have to follow. The potion bottles will also kick off a special power, which then change up something about how the game works, whether it's you steal an already scored trick from somebody else, or you're resetting the values of what's stronger and what's weaker, or anything else like that. In addition, it has the bidding idea, sort of, except your bid is imposed on you. If you are Jekyll, you really want to win exactly 5 of the 10 tricks in any round. The closer you can get to that, the better. If you are Hyde, you want the opposite of that. You want to win as close to 0 or 10 as possible. Because at the end of each round, this little Jekyll and Hyde figure moves from sanity to madness as many steps as there is difference in the number of tricks that the 2 players want. So if we both win 5, the little figure moves 0. If you win 8 and I win 2, the little figure moves 6.
Fundamentally, the trick-taking part of this is actually pretty straightforward. It's all of the mechanics that wrap around it and how that influences the strategy of trick-taking that makes a game like Jekyll vs. Hyde so interesting.
Yeah, the thing that I really like and keeps it very solidly in this trick-taking space is that you're trying to get in one person's head in the same way that you're trying to look around the table in a bigger game like Wizard and say, like, how likely is it that I can win with this? Or maybe I should hang on to this low card so I can throw a trick away later, or something like that.
Jekyll vs. Hyde is very much the kind of game where you're winning and losing tricks in a way that you're hoping to create a predictable set of tricks, right? So
yes,
I'm trying to get rid of all of my red cards so that when it's time to play green cards, which are the most powerful ones, I can throw down my 8 and then my 7 and then my 6 or whatever and really, have a better level of predictability is what I'm going for, right? And so because there's only 2 players, that's something that you can actually kind of do, which you really can't do in a game with a bunch of players.
Right. But also that's where the potions come in, because all 3 of the powers that the potions can kick off remove that predictability again, briefly. In some way.
Yes.
So that's one really good one. An entirely different twist on the trick-taking genre that we've really, really enjoyed is the idea of the cooperative trick-taking game.
So we've talked over the last few episodes about Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring trick-taking game. That is certainly an example. But the one that we're going to offer up for this episode is really the cooperative trick taker that started it all, I guess, in recent memory.
Started that as a subgenre.
Yes, which is the Crew Quest for Planet 9. There's also the Crew Mission Deep Sea.
Yes.
There is a Crew family game that is not trick-taking related, so just don't get fooled by that.
Yes. Yes.
So The Crew Quest for Planet 9. This is super interesting. So this is pretty much classic trick-taking. I don't think there's trump or anything like that, unless it is very specifically modified in that way by a mission. Every mission has a different goal. It might be something like the captain, who I think there's a certain card. It's like
that determines the captain, the rocket
one
or
of
something. Yeah.
The captain has to win one trick. The captain has to win all of the whatever. One of the other things really interesting about these cooperative games is that communication is always limited in some way. In The Crew, there's no communication about your cards unless you use this radio antenna token, which allows you to put it at the top or the bottom or in the middle of a given card that you put down, indicating this is the highest of this suit that I have, this is the lowest of this suit that I have, this is the only one of this suit that I have. And you can only use that once per round.
Yeah.
I think each person has an antenna token that they can use once per round. Again, unless the special mission rules restrict the use of the antenna token.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of extra stuff wrapped around this basic trick-taking functionality, but it is a cooperative game, so you're all in it together.
Because you're all in it together, we found that when we first tried The Crew with our kids, we played a couple of hands open-handed to then talk through, trying to keep the limited communication part, but sort of the point, like, this would be good to do now, this would be good to do later.
Well, if you're playing open hand, I mean, you're not, there's no limited communication.
Yeah.
You're doing it as a teaching exercise,
but as
which
a
is
teaching exercise of, this is how we get through these missions. Also, we would explicitly recommend The Crew, The Quest for Planet 9, over Mission Deep Sea for this purpose. The Quest for Planet 9 has a series of progressive missions. The Deep Sea one does not work that way. Your missions in Deep Sea are randomly generated by a deck of cards. So if you're still working into, like, how can we get better at trick-taking? How can we learn more of these skills? The original The Crew, The Quest for Planet 9, is a great way to keep turning that dial and tweak the difficulty a little more and a little more and a little more.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's important to understand that a cooperative trick-taker necessarily requires you to think differently about trick-taking. So even though the mechanics of trick-taking in the game are simple and basic, you're mentally approaching trick-taking in a completely different way. And that's why we consider it to be an advanced trick-taker.
Honestly, in this version of Room to Grow, even our advanced games are not super challenging, super hard. There are plenty more trick-taking games out there that have all kinds of additional twists to them. Jeremy Pike just reviewed one. The review came up today called Off With Their Heads that uses trick-taking as a mechanic, but nobody ever actually takes the trick. It's, am I aiming to be the middle of the trick, the highest in the trick, or the lowest in the trick, so that I can then take this value and put it somewhere specific on my roll and write sheet. There's also games where you can change trump mid-round. You can have to pass cards around. There are games where you don't get to see the cards are that you're playing out into tricks. Tons of variations, tons of cool stuff out there if you decide you like this mechanic. But if you're still trying to learn and build up those trick-taking muscles a little bit more, as our advanced games, we recommend Jekyll vs. Hyde and The Crew Quest for Planet 9.
So that's going to do it for us and Room to Grow trick-taking games. Again, this is actually a really difficult progressive complexity to kind of list out, and it's really because there's so much, just like Anitra said. So what we really wanted to do was focus on the different ways that you can approach this core mechanic of trick-taking, because the core mechanic of trick-taking in and of itself doesn't really change all that much. It's all the different ways that you glue things onto it.
Yeah, we started our kids with a game that no longer even is in print to teach them trick-taking, and then pretty much moved on to The Crew as the second trick-taking game they had ever played.
Yep.
We're trying to learn from that experience. It was okay, but it could have gone a lot better.
So, with that being said, let's step into our new Backtalk question this week. It is kind of related to our topic, but it is not actually really related to our topic in any way, shape, or form. The question is, what is your best board game story? Where were you playing against someone and you tricked them into believing one thing while you did something else? Or just, we'll settle for your most epic board game story if you don't have a story of deviousness and intrigue.
I mean, it doesn't even always have to be about deviousness and intrigue. And
it doesn't have to be
yeah.
devious. I mean, Anitra could tell you all about times that she's played board games and it has become a story.
Well, but even my example this past week where we're never going to forget playing an hour-long game of Suspend where the whole thing kept falling down over and over and over again because of the crazy ways that we were putting it together.
I thought for a long time about this because I figured I had to include like a story for the show. So we have a tradition every 4 years. A bunch of us get together and we play Campaign Trail.
Yes.
And I literally thought I was going to get punched after this last game where there were a whole lot of states that we were just barely shy of the appropriate amount of votes for. It came around to us. It was our last turn of the game. With our two actions, we played a card that gave us one vote in like 13 states. And then we played another card that allowed us to replay a card from our discard pile.
Oh, no.
And we went from losing by a bunch to winning by a bunch, and then the game was immediately over.
Oh.
And it was one of those wins where you don't feel good. It didn't feel like, I kind of wanted to smile because like I won the game, but also like my friends were really, really mad. One dude got up and walked out of the room. Like,
yeah.
So that's my story on that one.
All right. Fair enough.
But what's yours? So there's all sorts of different ways that you can reach out to us and tell us what your cool stories are. Or you know what? Honestly, like if you just want to talk about a trick-taking game that you really love, you can do that too.
That's
really
fine.
Whatever the back talk is going to be is great. But specifically, we're asking about your best, most epic board game stories of deviousness and intrigue. Where can people go, Anitra?
Well, the best places for the Backtalk are the Backtalk channel on the Family Tabletop community on Discord. You can get there by going to thefamilygamers.com/Discord, and it'll shoot you right in the right place. Or you can go to our Facebook community. You can search on Facebook or go to thefamilygamers.com/community, and that'll bring you right into Facebook. Of course, there are so many other places on social media that you can find us. Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, Threads, and sometimes YouTube at Family Gamers AA.
Of course, you can always just email us if that's something that you would prefer. Andrew at thefamilygamers.com.
Anitra at thefamilygamers.com.
Please don't forget to subscribe to the show, tell your friends about the show, and leave us a review at Apple Podcast or whatever your podcast subscription source is. You can also find us on Amazon Music, TuneIn, Spotify, and YouTube Music.
If you would like to support the Family Gamers, there are 3 easy ways you can do that. First, you could pick up some sweet, sweet merch like a t-shirt or a hoodie or a sticker by going to store.thefamilygamers.com.
You can also support us on Patreon if that's more your speed. We have a couple different support tiers from just a couple dollars to show appreciation, which we also appreciate, up to $5, $10, or $20 a month. There's all sorts of rewards on there. We'll send you cards. We tried to make them unique, like being part of the family. You can find all those by going to thefamilygamers.com/Patreon.
Thirdly, you can start your Amazon shopping at the Family Gamers website and use our Amazon affiliate link. This does not cost you anything extra, but it shoots us a couple of cents for every purchase you make.
Just go to thefamilygamers.com and there's a blue button on the right side that says shop at Amazon. Go there and you're good to go. All of our reviews, or most of them anyway, have an Amazon affiliate link that goes directly to that board game as well.
As always, music for the Family Gamers podcast is provided with permission from You Bred Raptors.
Family Gamers is sponsored by First Move Financial. Go to firstmovefinancial.com/familyggamers to learn how the team at First Move can help you pile up the victory points.
Whew, that was a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Pretty tricky.
You're pretty tricky.
All right, let's go find a trick-taking game to play. What do you think?
Sounds good.
All right, so until next week, everybody,
Play games with your kids.